welcome back to the Echoes of Europe, everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about the next round of the Champions League, which is the quarter-finals, and we've got some mouth-watering ties. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Liverpool, Barcelona, Atlético Madrid, and a fairly one-sided tie, or perceived one-sided tie, Arsenal and Sporting. But before we get into all that, as is customary, I believe you've seen my shirt before, so I probably won't discuss mine. But Tim, tell me about your very bright Liverpool shirt.
My purple one?
Your purple one.
Do you know what season they're from, mate? Do you know?
A football season, mate.
Which football season? Which of the many football seasons?
One fairly recently.
This might give you a clue.
Is that next season's kit?
Whee! That was good. Hey, we'd be lucky to get in the Europa League next season.
It's conversing next season for you, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue, mate. I'm going to guess 2019.
No. The year we won the Champions League? No.
I don't know. 2018. When did you play Dortmund in the Europa League? What season was that?
2015-16.
That's the one I meant. So 2015. That one.
No, this kit is from 23-24, Klopp's last season.
Fair.
Nice purple kit. I really like this kit. It's really nice. Got McAllister on the back.
Good player.
Just trying to channel some positive energy. But yeah, I really like this kit. It's glorious. Famous wins against Lask wearing this kit. And,
Lovely.
Yes, that's about it.
It's a nice kit, to be fair. Nice kit. I do like the colour.
We did. I really like this kit. And yeah, I'm a big fan of these. I seem to be wearing a lot of away kits when we're doing this, so I'm going to start wearing a few home kits on them. But yeah, big fans, mate.
Yeah, it's
On to the pod.
Yeah.
On to the quarters, mate.
On to the reason why we're here, the quarterfinals. Now, the first game we're going to discuss is arguably, although Tim might agree, the biggest game. Disagree, what I meant to say. It's the biggest tie of the quarterfinals. Real Madrid, champions of Europe. Not this season, but they are ultimately...
Previously. Previously
they've won it.
The Champions League.
Previously, they've won it 15 times against Bayern Munich. Most people's favourites for this competition. My favourite, indeed. So, it's a massive game to look forward to. I think both teams have got... They're structured very well. They've got star players left, right, and centre. The main men, if you want to single out two players, one from each team, is obviously the strikers, Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe, who have become the man of the men of their teams. And funny enough, each of these players have scored against the opposing team, for different clubs. But yeah, it gives us something to talk about. So, have you got any thoughts, Tim? Any initial thoughts on this game before?
Yeah, it's a great game, isn't it? You know, we've covered it slightly in our Real Madrid v Bayern European Nights Revisited podcast. So yeah, go check that out. Then we look at the 2001-2002 quarterfinal between these two sides. But yeah, fantastic game. Really, really exciting. I think there's a couple of things that jump out to me. Madrid are unbeaten in 9 games. Real Madrid are unbeaten in 9 games against Bayern. Bayern last beat them in the 2012 first leg of the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
It wasn't a semi. It was a semi. The 2012 semi. Bayern last beat them in that first leg. Then they went through on away goals. So Real Madrid are unbeaten against them just in 9 matches. They're both these teams are going into this game without their first choice goalkeepers. There'll be no Courtois, there'll be no Neuer. Bayern haven't even potentially got their second choice goalie. So they're looking, at having that 16-year-old in goal. I think something like that. So that's got to be a big concern. And it will be a big factor because, you've got Real Madrid who are, as we've covered before, not at their prime, but clearly a side that are going to cause problems still with some of that player power. But Bayern, potentially the best they've looked in the last 6 years. for me, it's all about if we had to highlight two key players, mine to win this game. I think there's two. You have to just, even though it's an easy answer, you've got to pick the two obvious ones. For me, for Real Madrid, the key player is Kylian Mbappe. It's because Real Madrid are going to have less chances than Bayern. They're going to have less shots, and I think they're going to need to be clinical. And I think they're going to
Yeah.
need arguably the best player in the world to step up and prove he's the best player in the world. And on the flip side, you could argue, Bayern, who are going to have more chances, obviously be at their creative best, they're going to need Harry Kane to seize the moment. If this is Harry Kane's time to become
Yeah.
a properly elite player and win something massive,
That's what he needs, isn't it?
time is now. You've got Mbappe's got 48 Champions League goals to date. He scored for Bayern before for PSG. And you've got Harry Kane, who scored 35 Champions League goals, and he scored against Real Madrid for Spurs back in the 2017 group stage. And he scored against, when they met, of course, last in the semi-final in 23-24. Kane scored a pen. Bayern Munich were 3 minutes away from making that final against Dortmund in Wembley. So what about you? What do you think? What do you think the key battles are, the key players? Any key takeaways from this?
I think it's hard to disagree with, obviously. We both said the two star men. I'm interested to see how they set up across the park. Really, obviously Valverde had a fantastic game against Man City. Will they have the ability to emulate that in this tie? You don't think so. But no, I think it'll be a game of a few chances, but you need those star men, those star players to get you over the line, and there's going to be abundance of options in it because both teams have got some quality options, left, right, middle, left back, right back, everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's probably the game I'm most looking forward to because I think like I've alluded to before, I think it's got pure quality written all over it. All over the pitch, so.
And we think about it just from a fan's perspective before we do a little take on former players. Like Real Madrid are going to be up for it. The atmosphere will be great at the Bernabeu, and then back in the Allianz Arena. Obviously, the first leg is of course in Madrid, and the second leg in Munich. I think that's going to be a class atmosphere. It's going to be really rocking, and I think it'll be a great game. In terms of little fun things, look back on players who play for both. There's actually not that many since like 1992. Like you considering the size of both clubs, the Galacticos, FC Hollywood, that type of thing. You've got who's your favourite from this list? Maybe David Alaba, Toni Kroos, Xabi Alonso, Ian Robben, James Rodriguez, and then Zé Roberto or Hammer out in top.
Ooh.
Who's your favourite ex-player in that list?
I know we've disagreed, I think, a few times, but I think Toni Kroos is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. He's not the best centre mid on that list. That's Xabi Alonso, but he's. Who do you associate? There we are. Who do we associate David Alaba with? Bayern or Real? Even though he's currently a Real Madrid player, Bayern or Real Madrid?
Bayern Munich.
Same. Toni Kroos, Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Xabi Alonso, I'd say Real Madrid.
That's a close one, but yeah, I'd agree with that.
It is close. It's because he's not really either. I'd associate him with the Liverpool. Yeah. Ian Robben, Bayern or Real Madrid? Is Bayern.
It's an easy one. Until you said his name, I forgot you played for Real Madrid.
And then we'll end on James Rodriguez.
It's got to be Real Madrid, isn't it?
You know what? I weirdly associate him more with Bayern. I think it's because he won the Champions League with them.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. He was Real Madrid's big styling, wasn't he, after the 2014 World Cup?
After his stand-up tournament, he got a big move.
James Rodriguez. Class. And then, of course, there's been three managers, of course, who've managed both, which is quite high, and some quite big names as well. Carlo Ancelotti, Jupp Heynckes, and Omar Hitzfeld, with two of them winning the European Cup with Real Madrid. Yeah. And two of them obviously winning it with Bayern, I think. It's just, there's so many iconic meetings in the past. It's the most played fixture, as we said before. Exactly. Who decides this more? Mbappe or Kane? Who's coming out on top? Just in terms of the one-on-one battle.
Kane.
You know, I'd actually agree with you right now. I think I would.
I don't think there's a striker, an out-and-out striker in world football at the minute that is as consistent as Harry Kane's been this season.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin would disagree, but yeah, no. I think we've got to...
I mean, he is great.
I've got to agree there. It's going to be a great game, though, isn't it? It's going to be great. We'll do the predictions as to who we think exactly is going to win at the end of the show. So we'll move on to the next game now, shall we? So our next tie, the first one obviously that kicks off on the Tuesday night. Sporting Lisbon against Arsenal. First leg, of course, in Lisbon. As Scott's alluded to, potentially the most one-sided of the ties, but maybe the easiest one on paper to call. Going into this, you think about Sporting's brilliant comeback against Bodo Glimt. You look back on Arsenal having pulled 10 players for international duty because of injury. So,
injury.
You could, but if we're going to, let's be fair to Mikel Arteta. Let's be fair to Arsenal. They could be without 10 first-team players, and that could make this game a lot closer than it would be normally if you're missing the likes of Saka, Rice, Saliba. Eze, I think, actually might be missing. But of course, they're all going to be fit, and they're all going to play.
Yeah. This is Saka's third international break during March that he's left due to injury. So
the injuries of March. The Ides of March.
They played it very smart. So
they have played it very smart. Key battles. I've gone for Luis Suarez, not that one, because I think he scored 6 Champions League goals now this campaign. Scores a key goal, of course, against Bodo Glimt. He's been linked in the last couple of days with Liverpool and Newcastle as well, the Colombian. But yeah, I think that's going to be... I think he's so important for Sporting, and you'll understand in a minute why I've gone for the Arsenal, because I feel like obviously Arsenal are going to frustrate, they're going to suffocate the game, they're going to limit Sporting's chances over the 2 legs, and they need their forward to be clinical. Whereas Arsenal's key player, I've gone for David Raya, because he's got 6 out of 8 clean sheets, of course, but as I've said, they're going to limit Sporting to a few chances, very few chances. And if Sporting are able to take those chances, they need their keeper to be focused and on top form, and not doing like what happened in the Carabao Cup final when they had Kepa in goal, of course, not David Raya, where there were limited chances throughout that game, but Man City took their chances, and because they had a clown in goal, they won the cup.
Kepa the clown.
That's quite a good ring to it. You're welcome to trademark that, Kepa, because I think you might need a new career, because goalkeeping is not for you. So that was my take. I don't know if you obviously can welcome to disagree on that, but I feel that in those narrow games, you need if you're going to restrict teams to chances, you can't be throwing the ball in the back of the net.
I think they're going to have learned something from this Carabao Cup final, and everything that you just said will not come to fruition, and they will absolutely blow Sporting Lisbon out of the water, personally.
I think they'll blow them out the water, potentially.
The last time they met...
anything.
Yeah, the last time they met, I think they and obviously this was like 2 years ago, when obviously Manchester United's best manager of all time, Amorim, was in charge, and they had the best striker and everything in Europe, and Gyökeres and all this stuff, who now plays for Arsenal, by the way. They lost. They lost to Arsenal 5-1. So, yes, it was 2 years ago.
But last time they met in a knockout 3 years ago, in the Europa League, Sporting Lisbon went through.
Yeah, but I just
Arsenal also came second that year in the Premier League.
It's a different Arsenal this year, isn't it?
It is a different Arsenal. It didn't have Declan Rice. It didn't have David Raya.
Yeah, and as much as I would love to see an upset, because it would be quite funny, maybe Arsenal Fan TV would come back and give us some more legendary golden blow-ups or blowouts, whatever you want to call them. But you just can't look past at the minute, can you, the quality in defending, not just attacking.
No,
from Arsenal.
I agree.
So
the only thing just to close, the only thing I disagree with you is I think Arsenal have learned absolutely nothing from that Carabao Cup final, and I think when and if they reach the Champions League final, they will do the exact same thing and they will lose. Because he is a cautious manager, that is a disciple of David Moyes, and I don't think he is.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You know, I don't think I think they'll play the advantage, and they'll obviously, I think they'll be too strong potentially for Sporting Lisbon, but they'll be interesting. In terms of previous players, there's not a great deal, as you can imagine. We've got Luis Boamorte, Joel Campbell, Andre Santos, Emiliano Vivano, phenomenal name, Cedric Suarez, and of course, everyone's favourite, Hector Bellerin. And Victor Gyökeres, of course, is playing for Arsenal against Sporting. Will he
score?
Will he score? Will he do his rubbish celebration? Or will he just refuse to celebrate and do everybody a favour?
I would like him to put that mask on his face and run around like a twat.
Do you think he's got the worst celebration in world football currently?
Nah, the worst celebration I've ever seen is Bafétimbi Gomis, mate. When he played, obviously this little Panther Jaguar, wherever the fuck he was doing.
Lion, I think, mate.
Alan Shearer had a terrible celebration. Miguel Michu.
He stole that from Heskey.
Yeah, so. But yeah, the face of the mask.
I can't even do the Gyökeres one. What is the Gyökeres one? That one?
It's like this, you know. I don't know. I'm a bit tired, but I can't. Yeah, ignore that bit. But yeah,
just two grown men trying to copy Arsenal footballer celebration to show.
Hey, mate.
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
The other episode, maybe we started doing.
It's got nothing on that, mate. It's got nothing on that.
Cole Palmer.
Morgan Rogers.
But no, do you think? One, do you think? I assume, even though they've been rotating for a bit now, do you think he starts?
He started the final, didn't he, against City, and he didn't do very well.
Yeah, and because this is where I think Arteta's got elements of Pep that he tinkers quite a lot, doesn't he? So
he didn't start the final. I think he started Havertz, didn't he? I can't even. Did you both of them?
Is it?
Let's clear that up so I don't like anything else.
He did start.
Yeah, so he started the League Cup final.
And he had a rating of 4.9.
He wasn't very good. So, but obviously there's an FA Cup game in between. Just before now. They're playing against, I don't know, was it Kidderminster Harriers or Port Albert Town. As are Arsenal's Jaws this year. But I do back Arsenal to do well, but yeah.
Yeah, on to the next one.
On to the next one.
And now we head back to Spain. The other side of Spain, because obviously everybody knows Spain only has 2 teams with a third team sprinkled in there every few seasons, and that team is the other team is playing. So, Barcelona against Atlético Madrid. Don't tell me you didn't like that, mate. That was a class introduction.
That's harsh on Sevilla, mate. That's harsh on Sevilla.
Nah, mate.
They've won like six Europa Leagues, mate. They've
yeah, Europa League team, mate, but they're not a Champions League.
Villarreal Europa League winners 2 years ago. I will not have these Sevilla 2004 Europa League winners. I will not have these teams disrespected.
But we disrespect Spurs all the time, mate. So we've got to spread the disrespect across to other teams as well, mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, back to the game. Barcelona, Atlético Madrid. This one I'm excited for as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a clash of styles. Atlético Madrid coming... Harry Styles. Lemonade. Yeah, Atlético Madrid coming into this... surprisingly, with the amount of disrespect, as we just mentioned, about other teams and Spurs directly, that we've thrown against them, but they come into this on the back of a loss against Spurs.
Igor Tudor's only win.
His only win, who is now out of a job. And Spurs, as of recording this podcast, have announced Mr. De Zerbi to try and save their seasons. Fun fact, off topic, De Zerbi lost his first 4 games in charge of Brighton, so Spurs could be fucked. But why are we talking about Spurs?
He didn't lose his first 4. He didn't win in his first 4.
Same thing. Got to win. You know what I mean?
He
But yeah,
drew in one of his draws against Liverpool.
Barcelona, Madrid. Who the fuck we trying to kid? What a fucking game. What a game. I think in the last 5 meetings, I think Atlético Madrid only won once, and that was quite an emphatic win, 4-0 win.
Copa del Rey as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then immediately after that they lost 3-0. They still progressed, like.
But they
So yeah, I
progressed,
think it just goes to show what sort of tie we're heading into. Do you have any thoughts on this game, Tim?
I think it is a phenomenal game. I'm gutted I'm not going to be watching it. Obviously, I'll be watching the game that we're going to cover in a minute, PSG Liverpool and then Liverpool PSG. You could argue the key player in this game, or the key factor in the game, is the Camp Nou versus the Wanda Metropolitano. And I say this because, as we shared in the previous pod, Diego Simeone has never lost a knockout game at the Wanda Metropolitano. And obviously the Camp Nou is a difficult place to go. So you've got to favour Barcelona. Sorry, not favour. You've got to. Barcelona will want to get an advantage going back to Madrid. I think Lewandowski and his experience is going to be key. Rafinha's out injured, one of the best players in the world probably at the moment. He's out injured for Barcelona, and I think you're going to want Lewandowski not just for his goal scoring prowess, 90 Champions League goals, scored against Atletico for Bayern in the Champions League previously, scored against Atletico, of course, in La Liga. But Atletico Madrid are going to be up to their antics. They're a horrible team to watch sometimes. They're going to be exactly when it's not against your team, you enjoy it, and they're going to be winding people up, and you're going to need someone of his ridiculous experience, vast experience, to keep their head, finish the chances, and go from there. Whereas from an Atletico perspective, you've got the former son of Barcelona, but Atleti legend Antoine Griezmann in his final few months, of course.
Before going to our favourite city, mate.
Orlando. To play in a purple kit, mate. It's fake. We love it. But yeah, Griezmann up going back against Barcelona, where it didn't work out for him really, but and of course these two have met in previous Champions League ties. Only 2 ties before, with Atletico progressing from both of them. There's a really great game, isn't there, from 15-16 that me and you are keen to cover on European Nights Revisited. Yeah. In which, Griezmann was the key difference maker, as well as in that against a really iconic Barca team. But I think it's such a good game, isn't it? Like, it's 2 opposing styles, 2 opposing cities. Catalonia v Madrid,
And they're both coming into it as well on the back of 2 very different round of 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I'm looking for
both against English sides.
Yeah, Barcelona scored about 20 goals against Newcastle.
Barcelona started playing rugby or whatever.
And then obviously Madrid. I had a bit of a crazy night in London, like so.
I'm pretty sure the night in Madrid was a bit. They were up against some charity goalkeeper. They brought him from soccer.
We can't be being Ashley Kingsley now, mate, because he's got to play again soon.
But both times Atleti have played Barca to get us back on track for the 9th time during this segment.
What my Spurs like.
They've not only beaten Barca, but they've progressed to the final.
Interesting. Could they knock Arsenal?
An Atletico Liverpool final. This is. Let's not give me too much shade yet.
Let's
got a whole section to do that. But at the same time, it's such a great rivalry, isn't it? In terms of in recent years, some of the players, obviously, that have played for both. You've got some. Obviously, we've mentioned Griezmann. You've got David Villa, one of my favourite Spanish strikers. You've got Luis Suarez, one of the best strikers of all time. Arda Turan. We covered him recently in the European Nights we visited. Liverpool Galatasaray in 2006. Sergio Aguero, João Felix, Spurs legend Clement Longley, and Memphis Depay. They're just obviously some. There's also, to keep to my Liverpool audience and my Liverpool fan base, Pepe Reina's dad, Manuel Reina, played for both teams, Barca and Atletico Madrid, as a goalkeeper back in the late 60s and 70s. I think that's just a bit... And, I think that's quite interesting. He also played in goal for Atletico Madrid in one of their other European Cup final losses and made a massive mistake.
That's a good nugget of information there, mate.
It was good, mate. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I look forward to going through the predictions with you. The stage is set. The Parc des Princes, Anfield, PSG vs Liverpool, round 2. This game, I know we've said about Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, but this game is going to have the atmosphere. It's going to have the players. It's going to have the drama. It's going to have the potential to be an absolute classic, because the last time they faced, now both teams in different circumstances, of Liverpool probably a far worse circumstance now than last time. That was some of the best games of football I've actually seen across 2 legs. The PSG Liverpool game from last year, of course, a rematch from the last 16 of the 24-25 season. And now we head to this. Before I go on,
yeah,
what are your thoughts, mate? What are your thoughts going into this?
I think, and I'm going to try and word this carefully because I might.
I know what you're going to say.
Virtually, you're absolutely fucking phenomenal against Galatasaray in the second leg, and then you were shit against Brighton.
Yeah.
So
and Spurs.
I honestly do not know. You could get thumped 4-0 in both legs, or it could be an absolute fucking class game like you just mentioned. And as a neutral, this is what's fun about this tie, because obviously PSG have a lot of quality going forward. Liverpool had a lot of quality across the pitch, and for very few games this season, they can put it together. And we hope that with these 2 games, or at least one of these games, they can put it together. So I am intrigued as to, one, how they set up, 2, who they pick, because obviously there's been quite a bit of changes here and there. But I think obviously the last couple of games, and obviously with the news now of Salah leaving at the end of the season, this is a massive game, isn't it? So
it's huge, yeah.
It's huge, like, so. Take me through your thoughts, Dave. Use every bit of emotion. Take the emotion out of it. Just explain to me the way where your head is going into these 2 games now.
It's difficult. It's difficult for me to obviously be. I'm not going to be impartial. This is not the point of this podcast. Yeah. So, for me, our entire season rests upon the next sort of couple of weeks. We've got Man City away in the FA Cup, then we've got PSG, then we've got the mighty Fulham, and then obviously PSG again. But obviously, we need to progress in the FA Cup, we need to recover our form in the Premier League, and we need to progress in the Champions League for this season to be, if anything, a footnote in our history. And in terms of the Mo Salah factor, I think he'll be fit, but obviously he was injured for our previous game and then didn't go on international duty. So. And we needed him, really, against Brighton, despite the fact he has obviously declined, unfortunately, as a player. All I want from this game, or what I think, is that we have Anfield in the second leg, in terms of it can be a factor, and it can turn up, and it can produce something. My worry is this game could be out of sight by the time we get there. Not that we ever really know when we'll beat, but there's just such a malaise, and around that. If we get knocked out by City, which people will know, obviously by the time that this podcast comes out, if we've they've raised the ticket prices recently, so we're all angry, we're all annoyed. The fans. The last time they sort of murmured around doing this was just before we played Atalanta, where we then put no banners on the cup, and which was the right thing to do, by the way. We needed to back and protest against. I believe that was ticket prices again, and we lost 3-0 because the fans just didn't. There was no famous Anfield atmosphere because we were all pissed off and angry at the club, and we're pissed off and angry at the club. We're angry at the manager. We're angry at the players. We don't, and as I've said before, we don't learn lessons. We don't turn corners. So basically, you've just got to hope that we're able to turn up and produce when it matters in the big moments, as we have done on sometimes this season, but also haven't done on quite a few occasions. Luckily for us, we're not playing Brighton, we're not playing Fulham, we're not playing Crystal Palace. We are playing PSG at Anfield under the lights, and that I believe that will have a factor. But we're coming up against Kvaratskhelia, who I think will be key for them, especially playing on the left, because Frimpong could be injured as well. So therefore, our right back is going to be vulnerable either way. I think for us, it's all about Florian Wirtz. These are the matches he's been bought for, not necessarily just for this season, but he created more chances than any other player, I think, in the Champions League so far. He's got to step up and he's got to produce, and this is his time to shine, really. This is where he's got to put the team on his very little tiny shoulders, and he's got to drag us forward, and he's got to do something. Dominic Szoboszlai, and Hugo Ekitike, of course, who used to play for PSG. I think Ekitike is a massive factor in this because he's French. He's playing against his old team, a team that he didn't really get a chance at. And he's got another chance now at an even bigger club, at a better club, on a bigger stage. And he has the opportunity to bloody their nose and show them that they were wrong. And I think that's massive. But it's not going to be easy. And PSG are a phenomenal team. And we're going to need to show what we haven't been able to show for large parts of this season. And look solid and look strong in attack. And deal with their threats whilst also trying to impose our own. But yeah, all I want is for the game in Paris, for us to still be in the game after the full time whistle goes, because they battered us last year, obviously in Paris, and we won 1-0. So and Alisson was man of the match. That's another one. If Alisson's injured, I don't give us much hope. If Mo Salah's not playing, I don't give us much hope.
How close is he stuck to being able to play properly for you guys?
I love it. This is my own conspiracy theory, so there's no truth in it. I think he could have played in the last couple of, because he's on grass, in the last couple of games, but I think we didn't want him to go away with Sweden and then potentially get injured again. I think he'll come off. I think he'll be on the bench. Obviously, people know against City. I think he will play. In at least the Anfield game of this, but he could be. If you're chasing the goal and you can bring him off. Yes, it's not worked out for him, but he's a proven goal scorer, and I think you've got to look at his records and you've got to go, yeah, we've got to give him a go. Again, this is what we signed him for, to be in these moments. So you're right, he could be a factor. And now I believe we're going to win because he's actually going to score a hat-trick. And we're going to win.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, there's some great former ties as well between the clubs with Ekitike, Anelka, Momo Sissoko, Mamadou Sakho, Wijnaldum, and our first ex-Swans player on the list, David Ngog.
David Ngog, as we called him over in Swansea, mate.
It is Ngog because he's French.
And we knew this, mate, but much like some of our players in Swansea, we can't say their name properly. So
neither can we on this podcast half the time, so it's all good, mate. And
can I have a scala?
And there is a manager link as well. Gerard Houllier managed Paris Saint-Germain and managed Liverpool and delivered us quite a few trophies. The Frenchman, so yeah, he's got a nice soft spot in my heart and in a lot of our fans' hearts as well. But it's going to be a great game, and from a PSG perspective, they obviously respect us because they're cancelling games against Lens to have that break in between. So I would love nothing more than to beat them. And to show them that they can cancel as many games as they like, but they're going through.
Trying to protect the legs, mate, isn't they? So now we're gonna have a bit of fun. We're gonna quiz each other, give our quick fire predictions for the quarterfinals. So Tim, Real Madrid Bayern Munich first leg score, please. Quick fire.
2-2.
Mad.
Scott?
1-0 Madrid.
Okay, next one.
Sporting and Lisbon Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal.
3-0 Arsenal. Easy one.
Barca, Atlético.
1-0 Barcelona.
1-0.
And then I'll go first in the next one because it's, Tim's obviously going to say Liverpool are going to win 5-0 or something. But I think PSG are going to beat Liverpool 3-1.
Liverpool 5. No. I think it'll be 2-1 to PSG. I think it'll be 2-1.
Interesting. Sweet, yeah. We agreed on some things there, so...
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did agree. Now, who's going through? Obviously, who's going to be in the semi-final? So in the first bracket, you've got Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and PSG Liverpool. What's the semi-final going to be?
It's going to be Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain. Apologies.
Do you want me to answer this honestly, or do you want me to answer this?
Mate, Liverpool are going all the way in there, so you might as well just say Bayern Munich, Liverpool, mate.
At the moment,
speak with your heart,
again.
mate.
Ask me again after the first leg.
I can't, mate. That's not what we're doing here, mate.
We literally will. We literally will ask each other after the first leg.
Yeah, we will, to be fair.
I will say, at the moment, it will be Bayern Munich PSG semi-final.
Does that hurt to say out loud?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously I'm going to the second game, which I didn't mention, which I'll be absolutely hyped for. But I'll be building that hype. I'm telling you now because I know what I'm like. The moment that it could be 4-0 to PSG, and I'll believe that we're going to go through after the first leg.
Yeah, I'll get the texts saying we're back.
As soon as I'm in the pub,
we're fucking back. We're
4-0 down. We're 4-0 down. We're back.
And then you fucking lose to Fulham or something. So whether we're playing in the Premier League week after that.
100%, yeah. 100%. We'll lose to Fulham. Yeah.
And then obviously on the other side
time.
of the bracket, mate, we've got obviously Barcelona, Atlético Madrid, and Sporting Lisbon, Arsenal. Who progresses? Who's your semi-final?
I've just got a feeling it's Arsenal, Atlético Madrid. I've just got a feeling.
I would agree. I think the home factor in the second.
I really rate Barcelona as well. I thought.
Yeah, obviously you spoke highly of them on the last one, but I just think.
I think they're so good.
I just think obviously with the injury to Rafinha, I just think it's
Yeah.
the second leg in Spain. Fun fact, they're both in Spain. The second leg in Madrid. The second leg in Madrid, I think it's going to be absolutely huge, and obviously you've alluded to Simeone's record, and I just And then obviously,
I've just got the exact same feeling that second leg, and I don't know, man. I don't know how streetwise this Barcelona team is. I think back to them losing to Inter Milan in that semi-final, and I did not see them losing that at all. And I don't know yet if I fully trust them.
Yeah. And then obviously,
and Arsenal, of course, will progress.
Do you see Sporting giving them trouble at all, though?
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah, they absolutely, yeah. I think they will. I think they'll give them... I think I said 2-1 to Arsenal in the first leg. I think Sporting will cause them problems. I think Bayer Leverkusen at times caused them problems, but more so in the first leg, and I feel like this will be similar. Whereas Arsenal, they made it very comfortable in the second leg in North London forever. So...
it's a good song, mate.
It's a great song. Absolute banger. It'll be played at weddings, bar mitzvahs for the rest of the time. And funerals, of course. And any other functions. Happy Easter to everybody. And Eid Mubarak. I hope you're all enjoying not playing North London forever and whatever celebration you are enjoying this spring. I think that's...
We move forward.
We move forward, move on. I'm absolutely buzzing for the Champions League. It's going to be great. I'm sure we'll end up catching a couple of games together. But yeah, look forward to reacting to the first leg and previewing then the second legs, which I'll be there. I'll be hyped. I'll be drinking the Kool-Aid and believing that we're going to win. But yeah, it's been good, mate. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps. It helps us grow the channel, connect with more fans. And all that good stuff. So yeah, thanks everybody. All the best.